For years, half the arena begged John Cena to win. The other half wanted him to disappear. The moment his music hit, children jumped out of their seats. They wore his shirts. They copied his hand gesture. They believed every word of his message, never give up. But standing only a few rows away were thousands of grown men chanting something completely different. Cena sucks. This happened everywhere. New York, Chicago, London, Philadelphia. It didn't matter if Cena was fighting the biggest villain in the company. A huge part of the audience still wanted the hero to lose. And somehow, WWE kept putting him on top. Year after year, championship after championship, main event after main event. For more than a decade, John Cena was the face of WWE. He granted wishes to seriously ill children. He carried one of the most brutal schedules in entertainment. He represented the company on television, in hospitals, at charity events, and inside the ring. To millions of young fans, he was Superman. To millions of older fans, he represented everything wrong with wrestling. And the strange part is, both sides helped make him one of the biggest stars in wrestling history. Because John Cena didn't become a legend despite being hated. In many ways, he became a legend because of it. But before the championships, the movies, the booze, and the bright-colored t-shirts, John Cena was a skinny kid from Massachusetts who was tired of being picked on. And the person he created to protect himself would eventually become almost impossible to escape. John Felix Anthony Cena was born on April 23, 1977 in Massachusetts. He grew up as one of 5 brothers, and according to Cena, his childhood could get chaotic. The brothers competed over everything. Who was stronger? Who was faster? Who could get the most attention? But outside the house, Cena wasn't the unstoppable hero fans would later know. He was picked on. He was skinny, awkward, different, and eventually he decided he was tired of feeling weak. At around 12 years old, Cena asked for a weightlifting bench. Most kids wanted video games. Cena wanted weights. He started building his body. Slowly, the skinny kid disappeared. By high school, Cena had become obsessed with training. He played football and later studied exercise physiology at Springfield College. But after graduation, he made a decision that confused almost everyone around him. He packed his things and drove to California. There was no guaranteed job waiting for him, no major connection, no secret plan. Cena wanted to work in fitness. Instead, he struggled to find steady work. Money disappeared quickly. For a period, he slept in his car. He worked jobs to survive and stretched every dollar as far as possible. There was always an easy way out. He could go home, but Cena stayed. That stubbornness would become one of the defining traits of his entire life. Sometimes it made him great. Sometimes it created enemies, but in California, it finally led him toward professional wrestling. In 1999, Cena began training. He was muscular, athletic, hungry, but he was still missing something: a personality. His first wrestling character was called the Prototype, part man, part machine. At least that was the idea. Cena had the body. He had confidence, and people inside wrestling started noticing him. Soon, WWE signed him to a developmental contract. The dream was getting closer, but reaching WWE would be the easy part. Staying there would nearly prove impossible. And the character that saved Cena's career would look nothing like the superhero he eventually became. On June 27, 2002, John Cena walked onto WWE television for the first time. Standing across from him was Kurt Angle, an Olympic gold medalist, a world champion, one of the best wrestlers on the planet. Angle asked the unknown rookie what quality made him think he could survive. Cena gave a 2-word answer: ruthless aggression. Then he slapped Kurt Angle across the face. It was a great introduction, but after the excitement disappeared, WWE had a problem. John Cena was boring. He had the muscles. He could wrestle, but so could dozens of other people on the roster. Cena wore colorful trunks and smiled. That was basically his entire personality. Behind the scenes, his future looked uncertain. He had made it to WWE, and now he was close to losing everything. Then, during a bus ride, something unexpected happened. Cena started freestyle rapping. He had always loved hip-hop, and when other wrestlers challenged him to rhyme about people on the bus, Cena started going. One joke after another, one rhyme after another. Stephanie McMahon heard him. She asked if he could do it on television. The answer was obvious. Soon, the boring rookie disappeared. In his place was the doctor of thugonomics. Cena wore jerseys, a chain around his neck, a backwards hat. He carried a lock attached to a chain and insulted his opponents through freestyle raps. Suddenly, people cared. The same fans who barely reacted to him months earlier were waiting to hear what he would say next. Cena was funny, quick, different, and most importantly, he finally felt real. His popularity exploded. But backstage, Cena's reputation was more complicated. Some wrestlers saw him as arrogant, others thought he was too confident for someone so new. Cena himself later admitted that many people backstage didn't like him during his early years. But there was one thing nobody could deny. He worked, constantly. He trained, studied, traveled, performed, and then did it all again. The company noticed. In 2004, Cena defeated Big Show at WrestleMania. 1 year later, he defeated JBL and became WWE Champion. John Cena had reached the top, and his timing couldn't have been better. The Rock had gone to Hollywood. Stone Cold Steve Austin had stepped away from regular competition. Brock Lesnar had left the company. WWE needed a new face. Cena was young, charismatic, reliable, and becoming incredibly popular. The company had found its next hero. But something strange was about to happen, because the more WWE tried to make everyone love John Cena, the louder part of the audience began to hate him. At first, the boos were easy to ignore. Then they got louder and louder. Soon, John Cena could walk into an arena as WWE's biggest hero and receive the reaction of a villain. Children screamed for him, adults booed him, women held signs supporting him. Men started chants against him. Sometimes the two sides battled each other for the entire match. There were many reasons. Some fans thought Cena's character had become too safe. The rapper who insulted everyone had slowly transformed into a clean-cut superhero. His message was simple: hustle, loyalty, respect. Never give up. For young fans, it was inspiring. For older fans who had grown up watching the rebellious stars of the Attitude Era, it felt forced. Then there was the winning. Cena won constantly. He would get attacked, thrown through tables, beaten down, and somehow he would come back and win. Fans started calling it the same old Cena story. New challenger appears, new challenger looks dangerous, Cena struggles, Cena wins, repeat. His custom spinning WWE Championship didn't help. Young fans loved it. Critics saw it as a toy. To them, Cena represented a company that had become too polished and too focused on children. Then came another accusation. "You can't wrestle." Crowds chanted it at him constantly. But the strange thing was that Cena kept having great matches against Shawn Michaels, Edge, CM Punk, AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens. The list kept growing. Many respected wrestlers praised his timing, storytelling, and ability to control a crowd. Still, the chants never completely disappeared, and Cena learned something important. He didn't need everyone to love him. He needed them to care. When half the arena screamed, "Let's go Cena," and the other half answered, "Cena sucks," Cena stood in the middle of it, smiling. The hatred became part of the show. But being the face of WWE required far more than wrestling matches. Cena's schedule was brutal. He wrestled around the world, did interviews, appeared on television, visited children, represented sponsors, trained, traveled, and sometimes survived on very little sleep. Behind the smile, the pressure was enormous, but Cena rarely stopped. He became the person WWE could always depend on. If the company needed a spokesperson, Cena was there. If a child wanted to meet their hero during the hardest moment of their life, Cena was there. If WWE needed someone to carry the championship, Cena was there. For years, he became almost impossible to replace, and that created a new problem. Because the hero fans accused WWE of protecting was becoming powerful enough to influence what happened behind the curtain. And one controversial night in 2010 would follow Cena for years. By 2010, John Cena wasn't just another wrestler. He was the man. His opinion mattered. Vince McMahon trusted him. Younger wrestlers looked to him for advice, and major decisions often involved Cena. Then a group called the Nexus arrived. They were young, angry, and different. The group invaded WWE programming and created chaos. For once, the company had a group of new wrestlers who felt dangerous. Their biggest story eventually led to SummerSlam 2010, Team WWE against the Nexus. For many fans and wrestlers, the ending seemed obvious. The Nexus needed the victory. Instead, Cena's team won. Years later, people involved in the match said they had argued against the decision. Cena himself eventually acknowledged that the result had been a mistake, but for his critics, it became evidence. Evidence that Cena protected his position. Evidence that younger wrestlers had to lose so the superhero could keep winning. Other former wrestlers later told stories about difficult experiences with Cena backstage. Some described him as controlling. Some accused him of being selfish. Others claimed he could be hard on people who challenged him. These stories helped build another version of John Cena, not the smiling hero on television, but the powerful top star behind the curtain. The truth is more complicated. Wrestling history is filled with conflicting memories, backstage rumors, and people telling different versions of the same event. But even Cena has admitted that he made mistakes. He was competitive, stubborn, and convinced that his way was often the right way. That attitude also created real tension with The Rock. For years, Cena criticized wrestlers who left WWE for Hollywood. To Cena, if you loved wrestling, you stayed. Then, The Rock returned. Their rivalry became one of the biggest WWE stories of the decade, but the tension wasn't entirely fake. Cena had publicly questioned The Rock's commitment to wrestling. The Rock didn't appreciate it. Their promos became personal, sometimes too personal. Cena later admitted that he had been wrong, because eventually, he did the exact same thing. Hollywood called, and John Cena slowly discovered that the people he had criticized might have understood something he didn't. Wrestling couldn't last forever. John Cena's early acting career didn't suggest he would become a Hollywood star. His first major WWE-produced movies were action films. They did not turn him into the next Arnold Schwarzenegger. For a while, Cena looked like another wrestler trying to act. Then people discovered something unexpected. John Cena was funny. His appearance in the comedy Trainwreck showed audiences a different side of him. More roles followed: comedy, action, superhero projects, voice acting. Cena began appearing in major franchises and big-budget productions. The wrestler, once mocked by adult fans, had somehow become one of entertainment's most recognizable actors. And there was an obvious irony. Years earlier, Cena had criticized The Rock for leaving wrestling. Now movie schedules were keeping Cena away too. He admitted the hypocrisy. He apologized, and perhaps that showed the biggest difference between the young Cena and the older one. The younger version always needed to be right. The older version seemed more comfortable admitting when he wasn't. His relationship with wrestling changed too. He was no longer the permanent champion. He could lose. He could help younger wrestlers. He could return for a few months and disappear again. Wrestlers like Kevin Owens and AJ Styles were given major moments against him. Behind the scenes, younger talent began talking about Cena as a mentor. The man once accused of blocking the next generation was now helping it. Even the fans changed. The boos never disappeared completely, but something had shifted. The children who once screamed, "Let's go Cena," were adults now. Some of the people who had spent years chanting "Cena sucks" began to understand what they had watched. Cena had been there every week, every month, every year, through injuries, through criticism, through impossible schedules, and when he finally stopped appearing regularly, people missed him. The most hated hero in WWE history had survived long enough to become appreciated, but there was still one thing left to do. John Cena had spent his entire career telling people to never give up. Now he had to decide when it was finally time to walk away. In 2024, John Cena stood in front of a WWE audience and announced that 2025 would be his final year as an active wrestler. This time, the crowd wasn't divided. There was no battle between cheers and boos. Fans understood what was happening. An era was ending. Cena had wrestled for WWE for more than 2 decades. He had become a record-setting 17-time world champion. He had gone from sleeping in his car to becoming one of the most famous wrestlers and actors in the world. But numbers only tell part of the story. Cena's career was measured in noise. For years, arenas couldn't agree on him, and that was what made him special. Some heroes are loved by everyone. John Cena never had that luxury. Every night he had to perform in front of people who wanted him to fail. They mocked his moves, his clothes, his characters, his movies, his championship reigns, and he kept showing up. By the time his farewell tour arrived, something strange had happened. The argument was over. The fans who loved Cena had grown older. The fans who hated him had grown older too. And both groups finally understood that WWE would feel different without him. His final year became a journey through the past. Old rivals, familiar crowds, final entrances, final matches. One last chance for fans to wave their hands in front of their faces and shout the words they had been shouting for more than 20 years. Then, on December 13th, 2025, John Cena wrestled his final match. Afterward, he said goodbye. The wrestler who had spent his career in the center of the loudest argument in wrestling history finally walked away. And for once, the crowd didn't seem divided. John Cena wanted to be a hero. For millions of people he was. For others, he was the villain hiding in plain sight. Too protected, too powerful, too perfect, But maybe that's why his story lasted so long. John Cena was never as simple as the character on the t-shirt. He was ambitious, stubborn, competitive, sometimes selfish, sometimes wrong. But he was also reliable, generous, driven, and willing to spend more than 2 decades carrying expectations that would have crushed most people. He became the face of WWE during a time when the company desperately needed one. He inspired children who were fighting battles far more important than anything that happened inside a wrestling ring. He became a Hollywood star, and eventually he learned to admit that some of the people he criticized had been right. For years, fans argued over whether John Cena was good for wrestling. Maybe they were asking the wrong question, because love him or hate him, they were always talking about him. They bought tickets to cheer him. They bought tickets to boo him. They argued about his matches. They argued about his championships. They argued about his legacy. And when he finally left, they gave him the respect that had taken more than 2 decades to earn. John Cena spent his career telling people they couldn't see him, but for 24 years, professional wrestling couldn't look away.